Hey there guys, in today's video I am going to be showing you guys part 2 of this series. In part 1 I did the shaping of this styrofoam rockwork so that it would look like a faux rockwork background. In today's video I'm going to be walking you through how I did the detail painting on how I turned styrofoam insulation foam into this faux rockwork look. So if that's something that you guys are interested in seeing, you want to stick around because that's going to be coming up right after this. Hey there guys, this is Jack over at Hi Red Bird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. And in today's video, we are going to be working on the detail painting of our faux rockwork. Now, if you missed that video where we completely installed this faux rockwork using just silicone and pieces of polystyrene foam, I'll leave a link to that video somewhere up there. But today we are going to be working on painting this rockwork. So you're just going to need a couple of things. For this, you're going to need that dry lock masonry waterproofer. You are going to need some tints for your concrete. Or for your waterproofer, concrete tints being the main ones you're going to use. I have some powdered concrete tint that I'm going to use. I'm also going to be using some 100% acrylic paint. I can mix the paint into the dry lock, and for the first few coats, that's going to be what I'm going to want to do. I don't want to go the complete color that I'm going to want the finished product to be. And the reason for that, this is going to get at least 5 to 6 coats of this specially made waterproofing paint, which is going to give me a nice natural look on the rockwork. But what that means is the first couple of coats I won't even see. So you could just go through and do your first couple of coats exactly as it comes out of the can. It does come out of the can white. But one thing I recommend is adding a little bit of tint to visually distinguish between the layers. And the reason for that, white, if it's wet or dry, it's going to look pretty much the exact same color. If you add a little bit of tint as you are doing your layers, what you can do is you can paint it, and just looking at it head on, you'll be able to see what areas have missed a coat or haven't gotten any paint in this layer that we're currently doing. That way you can make sure that you're getting nice, even coverage of all of this rockwork. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put the base coats on this, and I will jump back with you guys when we're ready to start detailing the rockwork. Because I think most of you could figure out how to use a brush and just go through and consistently paint the entire rockwork. So I will see you guys in just a second. All right, guys, so here I am starting with few coats of the rockwork. That's going to be 3 coats of the dry lock. At the end of that last coat, I did add a little bit of dark pigment and went through and did all the major cracks and crevices. The reason I do that is that it helps me feel like I'm making actual progress. It does look a lot better, and when you do those larger cracks and crevices early on, you don't have to worry so much about making a big mess. Now all I'm going to do is go through with a base color. I'm using the sandstone color, and I just want to go ahead and paint the entire thing. Now you can see that as I am painting this on with the brush, I'm not really painting it. I'm more using a stippling motion, something you would do for stenciling. And you just want to go through and get the entire thing. You want to avoid brush strokes because they're not going to look natural, but stippling is going to look really nice, although it is going to have a pretty significant impact on your brush. As you can see by the 4th coat, which we're on now, that's going to be looking a little bit rough. So that's why I say don't use brushes you are attached to. Now I'm going to start adding variation in the color. Of course, if you wanted to just do this all one color, you could do that. The little bit of finishing work at the end is going to look perfectly normal. But I like a little bit of variation. I don't want to go too crazy, but of course it's your aquarium. If you wanted to do that, you could. You could go all the colors you want. Normally what I'll do is one coloration, so that's the sandstone color here, and then I'll add a little bit of white pigment to get a shade just a little bit lighter. I'll add a little bit of either a black or a dark gray pigment to get a shade that's a little bit darker. And then I'm also going to do either one or two coordinating colors. So I'll take that sandstone color. In this instance, I'm doing both a dark brown and a red color. So that's going to give me a variety of different rock colors that are all going to be in the same color family. You know, it'll look like all of these rocks could be found in the exact same place. So as I'm working on this aquarium, you can see every single layer I'm going, just adding another layer of color. Now, as I am working this, I'm going to be using a variety of different brushes. I gotta make sure that I am getting all of the parts of this rock work. I am going to pause as I'm doing these different colors, take a step back, look and make sure that I like the placement of that color. When you take a step back to do that, I'm also going to encourage you to look at the aquarium from different angles. You might look from a side and realize, oh, one side of the rock work doesn't have any color on it at all. You might look from the bottom of the aquarium and realize one of your overhangs is completely bare on the underside. And that's going to be something you want to avoid. So you're just going to go through, you're going to detail out all of your rock work, figure out what colors you want to use, and just don't overthink it. Now, I will point out that this is going to be a little bit of a messy process. You can see there's a lot of speckling of the dry lock on the front of the aquarium. So you just want to be aware of that. Now, of course, we're going to go through with a razor blade scraper. We're going to clean this all up afterward at the end because this is a glass aquarium. We can do that. Now I'm going to go through and just do the finishing work. So there's two things I do to finish off this aquarium. One, I go through with a very fine brush, a dark gray or a black, and I'm going to go ahead and detail out all the cracks and crevices. Unfortunately, I couldn't really show that because I have a large head that was blocking the entire view. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to dry brush. So you're going to use whatever color you want. Usually I go with like a white or a cream. You want to pick up a little bit on the brush and then pretty much take all of it off, rubbing it on like a paper towel, as you can see me doing. Now your goal with this is not to paint the rock work, but just to pick up a little bit of color on all the raised edges of your rock work. That's going to look like chips and scratches in the rock work, so it's going to look a lot more natural. You could also do this in other colors. You could do browns, which is going to make it look like there's dirt attached to your rock work. You could even do shades of green to make it look like algae. But dry brushing is one of those things I thoroughly recommend if you're not going to do anything else. If you don't want to do any changes in color, at the very least, dry brush the rock work. I promise you it does make all the difference in the world. Now we're going to go through, we're going to use a razor blade scraper. We're just going to clean up around the edges. You want to make sure that you're being very, very careful. You don't want to cut into the styrofoam. You don't want to cut into the silicone sealing the styrofoam to the glass. And you don't want to cut into yourself. So we're going to clean this up, and then we're going to add water and do a couple of water changes just to make sure that this rock work is thoroughly clean. All right, guys, so once we're done with all the finished detailing, magically the aquarium, all of the equipment, and the water just gets put together. As we all know, that takes absolutely no work. It just magically happens, and you end up with an aquarium like this. I wanted to show you guys a close-up view of the finished rock work. In hindsight, I'm wishing I had done this before I had fully set up the aquarium, because this is designed to be a fully planted aquarium. The LED lights I have set up for this tank are actually very, very bright. And while you look into the aquarium, it looks like this lower part of the rockwork. You can see it pretty nicely, but trying to record this on the camera, the light is causing it to completely wash out. So you can see up at the top how it's so bright that I'm having a hard time just getting it to register. I have played around with the settings. This is actually the best I could get it. There is a reason why people who do photography on aquariums have to master these settings on their camera, because the change in the lighting levels can look a little bit insane. But I promise you guys, if you were just standing here looking into the aquarium, it all looks more like this rockwork on the lower portion. Now, a couple of things I do want to point out. We did a lot of the detailing work, and for me, those fine little details, on this lower portion, you can see the black that we painted in between the cracks of that rockwork really, really well. It stands out really nicely. We painted inside the crevices in the back of the rockwork. Between that and the lighting, you can see it really does look like a shadow. But I do want to point out, this is going to be the background of a planted aquarium. So there's going to be this, there's going to be plants, there's going to be fish. The point that I want to make is, I found that for a lot of people, the reason they won't take on certain tasks is a lack of confidence. They're worried about how it's going to look. And I think this really just demonstrates, this is a really easy project to do. It is done with, styrofoam insulation foam, siliconed into place, broken off into pieces, and then painted and treated with a waterproofing conditioner to basically make it look like faux rockwork. And I'm not going to pretend that there aren't any flaws in this rockwork, especially if you look up here on that side, you can see a little bit of that silicone peeking through. I tried to clean up the glass around those spots as best as I could. And there's still areas where it's not quite flush with the rockwork, and I don't think anyone's going to notice, especially once there's plant growth going on in there. When it starts to put on a little bit of algae, that's going to all be completely disguised. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is I'm actually really happy with this rockwork. And if you're putting together this type of enclosure for your fish tank, for amphibians, for reptiles that aren't strong enough to destroy it, that's the main question that you need to ask. Are you comfortable with it? It's your scape, so your rules apply. And if it's something that you're happy with, at the end of the day, that really is all that matters. So I certainly hope that you guys found this video instructional and helpful. If you enjoyed the information in this video, go ahead and click the thumbs up button. If you are intending on using this project for a tank of your very own, go ahead and comment in the comment section down below what type of animal you're going to do this kind of background for, because I love to see what other animals this can be used for. I've used it for a variety of species, but a lot of other people would love to see that. Well, so I do want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, just thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. All right.